Hello to all of our connectingdirector.com readers. I'm privileged tonight to be able to bring you an interview. We haven't done an interview with a company in the profession in quite a few months, and I'm privileged tonight to have Mike Grehan with us from LifeArt. LifeArt makes customizable caskets and funeral products that are contemporary and fit with the ever-changing consumer market and demands. Mike, thanks for doing an interview with us and telling us a little bit about what LifeArt does.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show. LifeArt's an Australian company. We started about 10 years ago. We're based in Sydney and in Hong Kong, and we sell to about 15 different countries. We make fully customizable funeral products, and whether that's caskets, coffins, ash urns, for predominantly the cremation market. They're biodegradable, they hit the green market, and they really suited to the cremation market in particular.
Excellent. Well, Mike, we've been chatting back and forth now for a few months, and I think I was first introduced to LifeArt a few years ago. We did a few press releases on your customizable caskets and really got a lot of conversation generated around that. And it seems, on paper, your resume is extremely impressive, and you're probably even more connected in the funeral profession than most of the people that I've met. So what are some of your credentials that what have you done in the funeral industry in particular?
The first thing I'd say is I've actually been a bit of a social butterfly. I've lived all over the place. I'm an Australian, obviously, but I live in Hong Kong now. But I was fortunate enough to spend nearly 3 years in the US, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. But I've got a very diverse background. So I've worked for companies like KPMG, which most Americans would have heard of, United Technologies, again, American company, Qantas. And in 2000, I ended up working at SCI Australia, which was fantastic. We, within 6 months, had bought the business back off the Americans. And 3 years later, we listed it on the Australian Stock Exchange. And at the time, that was when SCI was going through its financial difficulties. At the time, we were making about $5 million profit after tax, but when I left 7 years later, we're at $35 million. And today, that business is now worth about $1.5 billion.
Wow.
And doing in the order of 50,000 funerals a year and 75,000 cremations. So it was a great learning experience for me. I was director and COO, and that gave me the intro into the industry. Today I'm a CEO of LifeArt, I'm a shareholder, and I love the industry and I love getting around. It's a great industry.
Yeah, it sure is. It's kind of a family industry. You get
Absolutely.
to know everybody. It seems like
Absolutely.
we run the same convention circuits and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I mean, so with LifeArt, obviously you're addressing some major consumer needs and found a void and a niche in the profession. So what do you see being some of the major challenges facing funeral directors in today's market?
Well, funny enough, I think they're very consistent globally, and whether that's in Australia, the UK, or America. But in America in particular, the two big things are there is obviously a big increase in cremations, which is changing the face of the industry. And the other thing is that consumers are much more savvy these days. They get on the internet, they know what they're looking at. So with LifeArt, what we've tried to do is come up with a product that actually hits both of those challenges. And in terms of the cremations, this is a little bit unusual in America where there is a trend to have memorial services. And I think that's driven by partly by the fact that cremations are not seen as the best alternative, whereas the rest of the world see cremations as just an alternative. So what LifeArt does is give the family an opportunity to buy a casket that they can have at the service. So the funeral director can have a service with the family as opposed to a memorial service and actually charge more. And the family gets the benefit of having a casket that looks fantastic, functions like a normal casket, but doesn't cost the amount that a traditional timber or metal casket would. The second thing that we do, and we know around about from the statistics that about 55% of people look for an alternative option to timber or metal, being a green option. We know that from experience and from research. And again, it's very consistent from market to market. And the LifeArt product is a green product. It's biodegradable, it burns extremely quickly, and it gives families that option if they choose to have a green option. So as a funeral director, you can get the best of both worlds, having a product that allows you to sell up, but also allows them to give a green option. And they're the two critical things that I think is challenging the funeral director. And that's why we're finding breakthroughs in all markets, because we can actually hit those two key points.
That's a very interesting position to be in. I mean, you're probably the only company that's able to address that need right now in the profession. And it's interesting you say it's market to market the same, and it really is true. It's I've got to speak through connecting directors to a lot of different funeral directors in other countries, and it really seems as the funeral profession is extremely similar throughout the world. There's different traditions, obviously, but things are extremely similar. So, I mean, in the traditional casket room, that's generally the last place families walk into with a funeral director. So, in a crowded casket room right now, where casket companies have really, just covered every square inch of the room. How's LifeArt changing that perception?
Well, I think we've got probably a very unique advantage, because LifeArt's all about the design, and because a family can choose a design that suits the deceased, they actually have a whole different perspective. So whether we show them on a tablet or on a computer or in a showroom, it just totally changes their perspective, because instead of having to be confronted by that image of a heavy casket, they actually can be involved, and it's the involvement that is the key thing. It allows them to actually be expressive and make a decision about something that they've traditionally never been able to do. So in all my years at Invacare, I never got a letter from anyone about a casket, but at LifeArt we get them daily, because people get the opportunity to be expressive in how they make or design a casket about their loved one. And it's not about the shape or the size or the drapery, it's about the design. And I challenge everyone, think about it. What would you like to see on your casket?
Yeah,
most people, it's a tough question.
Absolutely. It is a tough question.
And I've been asked that question, and I had to really think about it.
I think one of the reasons it's a tough question is because we never had the option, right? So,
correct.
Now if you have the option, and in our chatting prior to this conversation, you guys have actually done some extensive research on and some studies on how the statistics of people who actually want to be involved in the design of a casket, correct?
Absolutely. And again, this is extremely consistent market to market. We know that about 30% of people, 30% of families want to personalise a casket. We know that, and yet they don't get the opportunity. There's a further 24% that are not sure. So you're looking at around about half the market, potentially, that want to personalise caskets. And if you think about it, there's lots of analogies with this. If you do a wedding, and you go to a wedding and you theme a wedding, there's no reason you can't theme a funeral. The design of the casket can be the same design as the letterhead or the service sheets, etc., and everything can be very well done by the funeral director, all of which they can make more money on and sell a better quality service. And that's what we're trying to create for the funeral director, an opportunity that allows them to give a better quality service and charge more ultimately. Okay. Because the family will generally go for it.
All right, so that hits kind of a touchy point and leads me right into my next question. So when a funeral director, you've talked about the funeral director being able to make more money, but a funeral director typically does not want to be the salesperson. That's probably the furthest thing that they want to be. So how is LifeArt changing that process or that perception of the funeral director? How are you helping that process?
Well, I think and this was always my style when I read Invacare. As an arranger doing a funeral, you want the family to make the choice. So always the best choice was to give them options. And again, interestingly enough, when we give people options with our caskets, we find it's very easy for them to choose options that suit themselves because they know that this is what they would like to do. It comes back to that 50% of people that want to personalise. And it makes it an easy exercise for the funeral director if they just show the option, because the families, up to 50%, will probably choose it. Okay. And it becomes a self-serving exercise, if you like.
All right, so in a crowded casket room, a casket's a casket. What makes LifeArt different from others that are on the market?
Well, I think that for the benefit of your listeners and watchers, that they should have a look at our website. Go to www.lifeart.com//gallery, and you can see what our caskets look like. Aside from the look, they are fully functional, so they will carry up to 500 pounds. They're extremely lightweight. They're made from a material called EnviroBoard, which is often used in aircraft and other lightweight technologically based equipment. They can be refrigerated. They can go out in the weather. They're just very different, but they fully function like a casket. They weigh about 24 pounds, so that's what surprises people.
Yes.
So when it comes to the showroom, you can either do it through having caskets on the floor, which is expensive. We try to encourage people to do it visually on television screens or on tablets so that people can get the full impact of what they look like and what the design options are. And again, the beauty on our website is you can go on there and design your own. So if you go to the landing page, www.lifeart.com, there's a section on there where you can download your own photos and create your own design. Ultimately, we should have a competition who designs the best casket.
We very well could. Mike, look, I appreciate you fielding my questions tonight, being on the call, but I'm not going to let you off the hook that easy.
No.
You said that you had some potential specials kind of in the pipeline. So as we're gearing up towards NFDA, you got to tell me what you got and what you're going to be able to offer our listeners.
Okay. There's two key things that we'd like to offer leading up to NFDA. As an introductory, we've only been in America for about 6 months or so. As an introductory special, what we'd like to do is give people a choice of 4 of our caskets for $700, delivered anywhere in the lower 48. So very good offer. Direct to funeral directors, so this is not going through distributors. Our distributors are aware of it, but very straightforward offer. So that's 4 LifeArt caskets for $700. The second option is our floor stock. Normally we sell our floor stock, but what I'd like to do this year is we'll give it away. So we're giving everyone the opportunity to win, if you like, the opportunity to take our floor stock from Nashville. And if you go to our website at www.lifeart.com/NFDA special and register, we will do a lucky draw, and the lucky winner will be able to receive our 6 or so caskets that are on the floor.
Okay, well, I think you over-delivered on that, so I appreciate it, Mike. Thanks for being on the call with me this evening. It's actually evening here in the U.S., and I should say early in the morning for you in Hong Kong, but thanks for explaining the product, and I'm excited to see which direction LifeArt continues to head and how you kind of disrupt the industry, so to speak, from the something as core as the casket market and some of your other products. So I appreciate your time tonight, and thank you for the great offer for our members and readers.
Absolute pleasure, Ryan, and I look forward to seeing you, but also all the funeral directors that I know in Nashville. I'm actually looking forward to it because actually the best show in the world. I find it's just
Excellent.
fantastic.
And you go to all of them, so you've been to quite a few
Well, I go to
international
I can't
shows.
say I go to all, but I do go to many. So.
All right, Mike. Have a great evening. Thanks so much.
No problem. Good on you, Ryan. Bye bye.